Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Joanne. Yes, hello, Joanne. Yes, I want to talk about Katie Joy today. We haven't had a big, although we have touched on her a couple of days, but I want to talk about her Instagram posts today because there seems to be, I don't know, I hear every time she talks about her family and her childhood, we get a slightly different version. So we're going to go through what's on Instagram today and see how this fits in what we already know. You got notification time? Yeah, as I said, I just decided to do it. So this is the interesting thing. So again, she hasn't been live, I don't know, for days. Now, I don't want to I'm not being critical of people that have these conditions. Okay. But she's on the ADHD bandwagon. Now, my whole thing is, this is my thing, is that you need to seek medical advice about anything to do with your children and any conditions that you think they may or may not have. Okay? Don't listen to what I've got to say. Don't listen to what Katie Joy says. Go speak to your doctor or a pediatrician or a medical expert, please. All right? That's what I'm going to say. So she says, as an adult with ADHD, one of the biggest struggles I've had is being misunderstood. ADHD affects executive functioning, how I process information, react, feel, and think. So frequently our misunderstood behavior is qualified as behaving badly. I tried so hard to fit in and be good, but somehow always screwed up as a kid. This made me believe internally that no matter what I did, I was bad. Hello, Belle. As a kid, I got in trouble for interrupting, having too much energy, not being able to sit still, not being able to sleep, not having a filter with my words, and not thinking through my actions. Oh, I could say so much. I felt like I was always 2 steps behind everyone else and that I could never be what people wanted. My coping mechanism became to try to be perfect. I thought that if I looked right, got the best grades, followed the rules, and didn't make mistakes, people would like me. As a child, my ADHD was never identified by teachers or my parents. I was a straight A student that barely had to try to achieve these grades. School was easy for me. I got lost in learning. What was hard for me was socializing and interacting with others. I've learned that people with ADHD avoid what is challenging for them and focus on what is easy for them. This is how we cope. When I was 38, I was finally diagnosed. My therapist was shocked. It took so long to diagnose me. However, an IQ test found my IQ was in the 99th percentile. She told me because of my high IQ, I could fool teachers that I lacked the ability to concentrate or struggled with impulse control. Lack of focus and the inability to be present makes people believe those with ADHD are self-absorbed and narcissistic. We are neither of these things. We're deeply empathetic, creative, and compassionate. Our approach and communication is just much more direct and disorganized than others. I know today that I'm not bad. I just wish as a kid someone would have noticed my struggles so life could have been easier. With proper medication and therapy, my life is amazing today. I am grateful I found the answers for my lifelong struggles. I want to see, so she's saying that she's got a high IQ and she's misunderstood. So there you go. Then that was followed up by this one. I shared this photo years ago and it's worth to share again. Growing up, I was not taken to the doctor to deal with my crippling anxiety, intrusive thoughts, impulse control, insomnia, and obsessive compulsive behaviors. Instead, I was forced to try natural remedies to calm my mind and fears. I had a million candles, incense, soft lighting, classical music, deep breathing, and meditation. I was gifted books on how to meditate away my anxiety. If I couldn't sleep as a kid, I'd find myself at the top of the stairs crying for my parents. Instead of comfort, I was met with a firm hand of multiple spankings until I cried myself to sleep. The stigma of mental health still plagues my family. I wish it wasn't this way. I wish I would have had the support that I needed instead of the pseudoscience techniques that only offered immediate or short-term help. The stigma of mental health has made so many people afraid to treat themselves or their children. Religion hasn't helped by changing mental illnesses caused by the devil. I know that my mental illness is genetic. It is all around me in my family. I am the only one that treats their illness with medication. Stigma and pride prevent so many people I love from seeking help. I get angry when I read comments from parents refusing to give their child with mental illness medication. It takes me back to my childhood when all I wanted was someone to really help me. Parents too easily rely on antidotes and placebo effect to prove that their natural remedy worked. I can promise you that no amount of diet control, candles, incense, meditation, or deep breathing fixed me. But just because it didn't fix you doesn't mean it can't fix somebody else. I'm just saying. That's why you need to seek a professional. I want to encourage all parents to take their child's mental health seriously. Don't be easily fooled by quick fixes or remedies to fix your child. Your child has a chemical imbalance that can't be fixed by eliminating food, sugar, caffeine, or screen time. Don't allow your pride or stigma of meds prevent you from helping your child. I wish so badly my parents would have not allowed the stigma to stop them from helping me and helping others. So there you go. So Totally Clueless says, she said before that he smacked her but dragged her out of bed for it. See, this is the thing. The story's changed. Right, so that's 2 Instagram posts. Then we've got another, got that one. Then now she's having to go at Joanne Duggar. Joanne Duggar is clickbaiting Gideon's developmental delays. Some of you will really like this. You'll find this to be quite interesting. She's worried that he's falling behind in some areas of communication and cognitive skills. The good news is that she took him to a real therapy center. The bad news is she filmed his screening. Child screening is not public information. Joanne sued the city of Springdale for releasing her confidential interview with police in 2006. Now, confidential screening for her son is turned into content for her channel. She also clickbaited the situation into 2 videos. Now, if Joanna was angry about her privacy being exploited by the police, she should not be turning around and exploiting her son. Viewers don't need to see his assessment for profit. I understand wanting to share, but doing so to earn money is the exact same reason she felt violated by the media. I'm glad she's getting help, but Joy, please stop the cycle. Now, someone please tell me what is hypocritical about that. Who was it that filmed at the hospital when their son was in hospital? Who is it that brings their child out every time they need money? Look, at the end of the day, it's Joanna's decision what she does or what she puts onto her channel. It's her child. Now, what if that video that she's done with doing the tests and that helps another parent, go, well, yes, I need to do the same for my child. Like people saying, child exploitation laws are so desperately needed. Family vloggers and similar influencers, family are harming their children for views. She probably learnt this from Jessa. Jessa did the same thing with Henry regarding his speech delays, and she goes, she sure did. So there's nothing to be frightened of having your child having to have therapy. And I think that there could be a really logical reason. In my opinion, Katie's mad because Joanna is making money off her child, and KJ can't. KJ can't make money off it because Joanna's already shared it. That's right. Jewel Ann says she's not the YouTube police. She states, "Don't tell me what to post on my channel," yet she tells others to do. Yeah, that's right. Now she talks about. I did see a comment. Maybe she deleted it about the fact about her. She doesn't share about her son anymore. No, if she wants it to be, she signed a release. No, she filmed it. They didn't. So someone says, I'm wondering if this therapist is licensed or it's a member of the church. No qualified licensed therapist would have allowed this to be filmed. How do you know? I would have thought no hospital would allow a child to be filmed, but KJ did it. Oh, here we go. Except my parents' video recorded my childhood extensively in what we call home movies, long before social media existed. And I can say I'd be traumatized had they shared it publicly. I already have enough anxiety as a kid. I would think Joy would want to stop the cycle given all the points he made. Maybe she's too close to it and doesn't see what she's doing. Or maybe that is money focused. Either way, children should not be used for content. They don't have a voice. Parents should protect them, not exploit them. Joy, stop the cycle. Katie Joyce says, this is why I stopped sharing publicly about my son. I realized he was going to grow up and deserved privacy. I share what I can to advocate, but no longer share his private information. But we all know his private information. We know it. That's right. Parents recording is different. And Joanna may have said, I want to put this, she may have spoken to them and got their permission. So she says, I felt invisible for years. It's not been an easy few years in my family's life. We are ignored, disregarded, and inconvenient. Thank you to those that see us, even though we feel invisible. I take in it that things aren't going well for her family, because she says, it's not been an easy few years in my family's life. We are ignored, disregarded, and inconvenient. Oh, look, V's got so much information on him on the internet. And then we've got the narcissistic family tree. In healthy families, we encourage our children to be loving and close to each other. In narcissistic families, children are pitted against each other and taught competition. There is a constant comparison of who is doing better and who is not. Some children are favored or seen as the golden child, and others become the scapegoat for the parents' projected negative feelings. Siblings in narcissistic families rarely grow up feeling emotionally connected to each other. So is she saying that her parents were narcissistic and that her and her brother don't get on? Didn't she say that they've never been close because there's a big gap between them or something? So for whatever's reasons happening, there's something happening there has to be something happening behind the scenes. I mean, this is all speculation, but she posts about the fact that her parents, used to spank her, and then about breaking the cycle, and then about being ignored, her mental health being ignored. And then she does, I mean, what are we supposed to think? What are we supposed to think is my question. Because I'm not sure what I'm supposed to be thinking here. That's why I titled this "She's Thrown Her Parents Under a Bus," because if she hasn't, if she hasn't had a bad relationship with them, she may have now. I'm just saying. What do you think? Oh, I missed this one. This is on, I've just gone to a YouTube page. I missed this one here. Oh look, I'd love to speak. So this one says, hurting your child through spanking solves nothing. Your child learns to fear their parents. I'm not raising a child to fear me. I don't spank my child. Just because you were spanked doesn't give you the right to spank your kids. Violence leads to more violence. Studies have proven spanking isn't effective. When I was a child, spanking was very common. Most parents spank their kids. Today, we've learnt that the damaging effect of spanking on children. When you know better, you do better. Break the cycle. So that's all of that. I don't know who this Zachary. Say that louder for those in the back. I'm on two of them. I researched the second and found out it is antipsychotic. So glad you're here. I have followed you for a long time. Thank you for sharing. Who's Zachary Boghalter? I don't know who that is. So she obviously spends a lot more time commenting on her Facebook page. She also had this one. When you are a woman that is straightforward and direct, you are easily labeled rude or mean. In comments, I frequently respond to questions in a direct and honest way. There is little to no tone in my responses. My responses are meant to be simple, straightforward. I understand that some people believe this to be rude. I have never been the type to add flowery language to my comments. I want the response to be honest and simple. Please don't mistake my direct and honest responses for rudeness. If I was a man, I know my comments wouldn't be read the same way. Women are constantly taught that unless they are sweet, kind, and submissive. What? Hello, Firefly. Oops. Oh boy. I've spent so much time creating content and researching. By the time I posted anything, I've done so much research that I stand by what I post. While I'm okay with disagreements, if someone is misunderstanding my post, I will clarify or ask a question in a direct way. I find that many times people read an entire caption and hang on a tiny part to pick apart or criticize. Some people don't even read the caption. When this happens, I ask that they read the caption. I know many people don't read the caption. I thought you had an IIQ. If someone is new to a page and asks the question that most people here know, I ask, are you new here? Well, that's rude. This is not rude. Yes, it is. I am seeking to clarify where they are at as to if they either read the caption or if they are new. I don't know most people who comment. I might recognize, but many, not all. If you believe I've been rude, I can assure you that when I'm being mean, you will know. I assure you, it truly takes a lot to upset me. Please understand, I appreciate all of your comments. Sometimes it's getting exhausting being called rude when I'm only seeking information and being direct. Oh. That is really, I just go, but to say, are you new here is rude. She could say, hello. You know, are you Is this your first time on my page? That's all she'd need to say. Oh, you knew he was rude. So I'm seeing with her the stuff that was deleted. Oh, yeah, see, there's her What Would the Nanny Do shirt there, her design. So even though she deletes them off Instagram, looks like they stay on Facebook. I mean, I'd wear this. Do you like my design? We looked at this last night. Hi, yeah, hi, Bo. I'd wear it. I feel we need one with her face. What does the nanny do? She sleeps with Cody. What does Sob and Robin do? Everyone's saying they'd wear it. No, she apparently did it. Hello, Plan to Create. No, I know. I mean, she's an entertainment website and a blogger here. It doesn't say that she's a journalist. Hey, Terry C, how are you? So anyway, for those of you that missed out, she complained about, or she talked about the fact that she was spanked as a child and her ADHD, and that was all ignored, and that she didn't have a proper childhood, etc., etc., etc. And so I felt that she was. I felt that, I feel that she's thrown her parents under a bus. But see, she said today in this one that her parents, or she was smacked at the top of the stairs, but Totally Clueless said that she said at one stage that was it her dad used to pull her out of bed to spank her. So I don't know. I mean, I'm a bit confused about it all as well. I mean, it's possible that both has happened. And then she talked about the fact that they're ignored, her family's ignored. So, and that it's been a tough few years for her family, and that her family ignores it. So I don't know what we're supposed to read into that. You're watching Married at First Sight as well? Anything exciting happen? So so that's essentially where we're at. So with all the posts about that. Now, I think that came about because one parent had said that their child couldn't take any, had reactions to the medications for ADHD, and the doctor had told they were eliminating food out of the diet, and that was working. And so she went absolutely spare. So she got onto all this pseudoscience stuff and saying, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong. It was like when they used to say red cordial make kids hypo, don't give kids red cordial. So for this person with their doctor, they had come up with a food plan. Now, my cousin has had something wrong with her spine. They said, we can operate. Here are the risks. But you could try a non-surgical way and see whether it works. Now, she chose the non-surgical way, which was to lose weight. She's lost 35 kilos, and it's worked. Now, she doesn't know how long she can avoid the non-surgical path, but for her, it's a win. She's lost 35 kilos. She's it's a semi-cure, but she knows she may have to go down the medicated surgical path down the track. But for now, and so that's the thing. You seek and you work with your doctors and work out what's the best plan for you. Not everybody fits in the same box. That's why we have medical professionals. That's why they're professionals. So, as I said at the start, have these conversations with your doctor. Now, I was talking to somebody who was really afraid of getting their booster shot, because when she had her second, she's due for her booster, and after she'd had her second vaccination, she had heart palpitations and went into hospital. And she said, I'm really, really scared. And I said, you know what you're best to do? I said, you're best to go have a chat to your doctor. Because I said, your doctor's going to tell you what the best course of action is. I said, I can't. I can tell you how I reacted to the booster, but I didn't have heart palpitations after the second vaccine. But I said, you should really speak to your doctor. Don't talk to me about it. Don't ask me about it. So go talk to your doctor and work with them as to A, whether you should have it, and B, which one to get. I said, because I said that's what their job is. So that's how I handled that conversation today. I wasn't going to talk about, I could have, talked about the side effects of each one as I've read them, but no, I'm not qualified to talk about them. I just said, go talk to your doctor. And I said, I understand why I did say I understand why you'd be nervous. I couldn't imagine having heart palpitations, having to go to hospital and having chest pains and thinking you're having a heart attack after your vaccination. I think that would be really scary. So I sympathized with her, but said, you know what, go chat to your doctor. So, and that I think is the most responsible thing I could do. And so same with ADHD and all this other stuff that Katie Joy's talking about, where, she's talking about pseudoscience and, not taking whatever. For me, I go, you need to speak to your doctor. Have a chat with your doctor. Your doctor will tell you the best course of action. Now, I remember when my son was 14, he was depressed, and we were talking about antidepressants, but the doctor said to me, we really don't want to be putting a child so young on antidepressants. We need to try a non-medical way, a different path. So we tried other things. That's what you do. And it depends. And again, it's a decision at the end of the day, it's a decision between you and your doctor as to what path you take. I don't judge anybody for if they want to try, if after talking to their doctor, they're going to talk about, they're going to choose diet. As long as it's been spoken about through a medical health professional. I can't argue with that, because I'm not a professional. So my advice is to always speak to your doctor. Now, that's my rant done. That's my rant done. Oh, dear. Yes, I saw heart issues with vaccines are related. I've heard that, and that's why I also think she needs to speak to a doctor as well. I remember when I was waiting to get my my second vaccination. I remember going to my doctor. At this stage, they were changing the frequency of when you could have your second vaccination. And I remember going to my doctor and I said, now, when can I have my second vaccination? They keep changing the rules. And the doctor goes, yep, they keep changing the rules. Every day I come here and they tell me something different. He said, we're just as confused as you are. And I went, oh, so if you're confused, then it's okay that I'm confused. He said, yep, just listen to us. So, they've limited this stream again. You'd be pleased to know that last night's stream, I think, became user-friendly. Last night's stream started off, I put in a review for it. Look, it's limited. Last night's got limited, and now that's free for all. I have to put in for a manual review. I do think, though, it was pretty rich. She was criticizing Joanne for taking footage or filming at the clinic for her son, when we know that she's done the same thing with her son at the hospital. Why? I don't know why. Totally clueless. They keep limiting me. That's I joked last night and said I'd spoken about Katie Joy, and obviously she wasn't YouTube friendly. And I've actually put her in the title today. That's all right. I've already clicked it. I've already clicked it to go to for them to review it. So they'll review it. So it's okay. As I said, I don't really mind, to be honest with you. I don't do it for the money. I do it for the fun. I do it for the love. So well, that's also the other interesting thing, Bo, is that people are different sizes. Oh, we were talking about that ship that I'm sorry to change the segue with all the oh, that's a really nice picture. Someone took video footage of the yeah, well, that's the other thing, Plantopia. I know I've just sort of she complains when the Duggars won't get their kids therapy. Now she's complaining when they do. That's right. That's exactly what she does, and that's what I don't understand. Oh, I was going to say, I saw the footage of that ship. We were talking about that ship with the cars burning up, catching fire, and there's some footage of it. So let's have a look. Look at it. Remember, there was Porsches and VWs, and they believe, I was reading, they believe that the electric cars' batteries, what the fact that she said that she's got a high IQ. I haven't discussed it. I just let that one go to the keeper. But look at it on fire. But they believe that the electric cars, the batteries caught on fire. The electric car's batteries caught on fire. Yes, I did see EKC's short video on it. Yeah, I did. Yeah, okay. This is the 99th percentile. She's supposed to be in the 99th percentile. Well, let me tell you, she would know what mitigating circumstances are. Right, so this is a burning ship. So it says 22 crew members were evacuated. Still floating in the Atlantic Ocean. It's not clear whether the cars are damaged. They don't know. The cars might be a bit smoky. An internal email from Volkswagen stated the ship was carrying 3,965 vehicles of VW, Porsche, Audi, Lamborghini. YouTuber Matt Farah, whose automotive review channel The Smoking Tire has more than 1 million followers, said on Twitter he was contacted by a car dealer who said his Porsche he ordered was aboard the ship. That's quite ironic that he had a YouTube channel called, he's got a YouTube channel called The Smoking Tire, and his car's now smoking. My car is adrift, possibly on fire in the middle of the ocean. The picture shared by Portuguese Maritime Authority on its website showed clouds of smoke billowing. The fire was active but under control. James Turner, a lawyer specializing in cross-border commercial and shipping disputes, said electrical faults were a common cause of such fires. He said if electric vehicles with lithium-ion batteries were on board, specialist firefighting equipment would be needed to extinguish the flames. So they believe that it was one of the electric vehicles' lithium-ion batteries that caught fire. He said vehicle carrier vessels are usually constructed like multi-story car parks and sealed between each floor, which could limit the damage to the cargo. It's a devastating loss for car lovers, which has led one Twitter user to suggest the luxury cargo is now a free-for-all. So if, let's just say, so that ship is now adrift, right? So if you got the right firefighting equipment, and assuming that it was ablaze, so it could be only one section of is on fire, you could get the specialized fire equipment, get onto the ship, put the fire out, and hijack all the cars. And then sell them. Yeah. He had his YouTube channel is called The Smoking Tire, and his car's a smoke. He's going to get a smoky Porsche. needs to change his channel to the smoking Porsche. That's a very good question, boy. That is a very good question. It's interesting though, because like laptops have the iron lithium batteries in them, and they get to go. We put them in through our normal cargo, but they have to be marked, and you have to be aware, and you have to treat them carefully. But a lot of other stuff, but technically they're dangerous goods, and they should be treated as such. But oh gee, I find that to be hilarious. Oh boy, that is funny. That is so funny. Now, pirates are on the way. Ahoy there, matey. I want a Porsche. So it looks like that they're saying the ship is still floating somewhere. So obviously it was it looks like that if what they say has occurred, only one section then of the ship could be damaged. So it could be safe to go back. Oh boy. Oh dear, I'm so funny. Well, I think I am. Oh dear. Oh. Oh dear. Yes, the pirates can get a car for me. Yes. Well, what do I want? Do I want an Adhd, or do I want? Well, I tell you what, I want one that's not smoky, or do I want one that's smoking hot? Smoking a hot car for a smoking hot girl. Oh dear. Oh, boys thinks I'm funny too. Oh dear. Oh. Oh boy. Something long lived and cheap to fix. Well, not the cars these days. These cars are designed to crumble, the cars these days. Now, we've been following about Friendly Geordie's thing, accusations about Mick Fuller. He's now stepped down as the Police Commissioner of New South Wales. But there was an article released yesterday. It says the New South Wales, yes, 99th percentile indeed, yeah. Apparently, what they're saying is the allegation is that the New South Wales police watchdog knew about the former commissioner's racehorse co-ownership for years and has turned a blind eye to it. Nice Ferrari. Oh, might not Ferrari be all right. As long as it's red. Don't red drive faster. The New South Wales police watchdog has known for years about former Commissioner Mick Fuller's co-ownership of racehorses with leaders of high-risk industries and wealthy businessmen who won a $3 million police contract. The Law Enforcement Conduct Commission received written complaints from police officers dating back several years, detailing revelations about Mr. Fuller's racehorse syndicates, which were only aired in public this week by the ABC investigations. So it's interesting. The public is finding out about this now, but it would seem like, according to this article, that allegedly that people there have been complaints about all of this corruption. The secretive too, so we're not supposed to know about it. Anti-corruption body has not publicly committed to an investigation into the matters, but LECC spokesperson said it was making inquiries and reviewing material in response to the expose. They're going to have to now because they're going to look like fools if they don't. The ABC revealed on Thursday that the recently retired police commissioner and serving senior police did not declare their shares in racehorses to the state government in potential breach of anti-corruption rules. Mr. Fuller co-owned 2 racehorses with a group of senior police, sporting identities, media bosses, and businessmen, including 2 who became embroiled in criminal investigations. And as I said at the time, that's not suspicious, is it? The New South Wales Police Force announced an internal investigation into the ABC's revelations on Friday, but pressure is mounting on the New South Wales government to launch an independent inquiry. Mr. Fuller told the ABC he owned 2.5% shares in 2 horses once upon a time in 2019 and 2020, as well as Mad Magic from 2015 to 2017, and was entitled to a proportion of their winnings. The racehorses were bought and trained by David Van Dyke, who was punished by racing bodies in New South Wales and Queensland over several doping scandals. The ABC can now reveal Mr. Fuller's undeclared racehorse shares were not used to LECC. While Mr. Fuller was police commissioner, the LECC received several complaints from former and serving officers about Mr. Fuller's membership in racehorse syndicates. The complaints to the LECC raised concerns about the co-ownership of racehorses by Mr. Fuller and other senior police, with leaders of industry declared high risk under the New South Wales Police Force Code of Conduct, including liquor, racing and security. Police have faced warnings about involvement in those industries ever since the Wood Royal Commission into police corruption 25 years ago, because their duties to regulate and inspect them. Some written complaints named racehorse co-owners, including pub chain owner Chris Ferros and security boss Sammy Shamon. Mr. Shamon was the subject of a high-profile police fraud investigation in 2016 while part of Mr. Fuller's Mad Magic syndicate. The investigation looked into Mr. Shamon's involvement in a salary cap breach by the Parramatta Eels NRL club, over which he was never charged. The complaints to the LECC also raised concerns about the awarding of lucrative police contracts to Magic co-owner and wealthy Sydney businessman Chicken Dave Levy. Mr. Levy's company, Osmark Catering Group, secured a $3.1 million contract in 2017 after Mr. Fuller became commissioner, triple the value of Osmark's contract from 5 years earlier. That's not suspicious. I'm sounding very cynical here, aren't I? The contract, which was extended last year, contains a piggyback clause, enabling any New South Wales agency to engage the company without a tender process. Mr. Levy's food business has for many years employed a former policeman and friend of Mr. Fuller, John McCusker, as manager. Mr. McCusker's wife, Assistant Commissioner Leanne McCusker, was seen as the front runner in the race to be promoted to Deputy Commissioner before this week. I don't think that's going to happen now. Mr. Levy was under criminal investigation at the time of the 2017 tender process. Charges against him over the illegal asbestos dump on his Sydney property were dropped last year. The LECC did not respond specifically to questions about whether it investigated the complaints about Mr. Fuller's racehorse syndicates and the catering contract. The Commission is aware of media articles concerning allegations of conduct issues relating to the former Commissioner of Police, Mr. Fuller, and other police, the LECC said in a statement. As part of the inquiries, the Commissioner is reviewing material relating to circumstances that have been reported. No further statement will be made while those inquiries are afoot. So this is the new Police Commissioner, Karen Webb. The LEC spokesperson previously said the watchdog predecessor, the Police Integrity Commission, investigated a separate allegation regarding Mr. Fuller and the horse racing industry, but found no substance to the complaint. The LECC said it reviewed the 2016 investigation last year after receiving a similar allegations and was satisfied with the PIC's findings. The ABC understands the review last year did not examine Mr. Fuller's racehorse syndicates or the catering contract. So there's some information there if you know more. If you want to be a whistleblower. So anyway, the fact of the matter is, the government is under pressure now to investigate into this. But he's now retired, so it's very interesting to see what goes on. So this is Mr. Fuller. Now, Mr. Fuller was the neighbour of ScoMo, by the way. He was ScoMo's neighbour. So I'm sure Friendly Geordies will have more to say on that matter, which will be very interesting. But yeah, so it's getting very interesting that it seems to be that there's been this issue simmering under the surface that's coming to light now, and they're going to have to do something about it, because once it gets out in the public, or maybe Mr. Fuller will sue the ABC. That's what Christian Porter did when his stuff got out. So, So Clive Palmer, who is I guess he's a billionaire. I think is he a millionaire or billionaire? He was a politician for a time, a federal politician. He has his own party, the United Australia Party. This is Clive Palmer here. And this is Mark McGowan, who is the Premier of Western Australia. Now, Clive Palmer is suing McGowan for defamation. So it's in Sydney, I believe. I don't know why it's in Sydney when I find it interesting that it's in Sydney when Palmer lives in Queensland and McGowan lives in Perth. But anyway, so it's under trial. McGowan's been told he's got to turn up to court in Sydney in person. So Mining Man is a mining magnate. Mining magnate Clive Palmer is told a defamation trial in the federal court. He believed WA Premier Mark McGowan could kill him without being prosecuted. Mr. Palmer has been given evidence in his defamation case against the Premier over comments made in 2020. Mr. McGowan is countersuing with his own claims against the Queensland businessman. One of the key issues in August 2020 was legislation preventing Mr. Palmer from claiming billions of dollars in compensation over a WA mining proposal. Yes, it's all over money. In an ABC interview in August 2020, Mr. Palmer said immunity provisions in the legislation meant the Premier could murder, shoot you, raid your house. In court this morning, Mr. McGowan's lawyer, Brett Walker SC, asked him whether he believed the Premier could kill him. I believe he could do that under the provisions of the Act. Brett Walker, it was Christian Porter's senior counsel. He likened it to James Bond's License to Kill, in that there wasn't a limitation in what they may do in breaching the criminal law. Mr. Walker asked Mr. Palmer if he thought the Premier could escape criminal responsibility for killing someone. That's the essence of it, Mr. Palmer replied. Mr. Walker asked further if he thought the legislation authorised the killing of anyone. Not authorised, but allowed for it to happen, Mr. Palmer said. Mr. Walker put to him that this would be an outrageous and observed effect of the legislation, which Mr. Palmer responded, I reject it. I've never ever seen any legislation that gave anyway. Mr. Palmer told the court he could not remember advertisements that attacked the McGowan government and made several accusations against the Premier. At the time, it was a bit of a blur, he said, asserting he did not draw them up and that the advertisements were on behalf of a company, not him personally. During the exchange about the advertisements, Mr. Walker accused Mr. Palmer of just playing with words and said it was absurd to suggest the advertisements did not represent his view. He accused Mr. Palmer of lying during his testimony, something he rejected. Mr. Palmer did admit his company was potentially entitled to more than $27 billion in compensation as a result of arbitration over the mining proposal, something he said should have been treated confidentially. He said this was determined by independent experts and not quite as high as the $30 billion that was being stated by the WA government in 2020. Mr. Walker took Mr. Palmer to task about his suggestions the Premier had lied in relation to COVID-19 medical advice and WA's hard border. He also accused the businessman of not answering questions when Mr. Palmer said he could not recall details. Oh dear, Mr. Palmer can't recall details? This is the guy that would routinely fall asleep in Parliament. Earlier, Mr. Palmer said he ended up vomiting when he learned about the legislation to stop him from claiming compensation, telling the court he was frightened about what might happen. He compared the WA government to Nazi Germany and became emotional how he described how he believed the safety of himself and his family had come under threat. They could do anything, Mr. Palmer said. Justice Michael asked Mr. Palmer if he was saying, after reading the WA legislation, whether he had genuine fear for your physical safety. Mr. Palmer said yes, for him and his family and employees. He told the court he felt the WA government was taking action via legislation because it had lost arbitration in relation to a mining proposal and it wanted to get me. I'm really stuffed, he said he felt at the time. There's only one problem. With the WA hard border, Mr. Palmer wouldn't have been able to get into the state. So he wouldn't have been able to get into the state for them to even kill him, because residents who lived in WA, if they left the state, haven't been able to return can't return until the 7th of March or something. So they're not going to let someone from Queensland in. Anyway, that's just on the side. Mr. Palmer also told the court he believed comments by Mr. McGowan likened him to a drug dealer. In 2020, Mr. McGowan said Mr. Palmer wanted to come to WA to promote hydroxychloroquine, something he said was dangerous. Mr. Palmer had told the court it was gutter politics and felt he was being made equivalent to a drug dealer. He said he was not promoting anything. He was instead responding to a national crisis, saying clocked, that was the only option to save the country. He asserted he'd been used as a scapegoat in an ongoing campaign to target me for political reasons. That hydrochlorine, whatever, was deemed quite early on to be a nonsense cure. So, of course, they were going to say that he was, that was dangerous. We know that. Got my free for COVID test from government last week. Guess what? That's by April 2020. I hadn't even checked the date before the government starts. Oh, you know what? I went and got my 5 free the other day. I should go check my expiry date because knowing my government, they probably would do the same by. Anyway, Mr. Palmer is suing Mr. McGowan over comments the Premier made in 2020 that he claims brought him into hatred, ridicule, and contempt, and caused him to suffer loss and damage to his reputation and injury to his feelings. Oh, he just didn't say that, did he? No way. If you've got a concession card, Bella, you can get them for. You can get 5 for. You can get them for free. You can get 5 a year or 10 a year. He's put that to suffer loss and damage to his reputation and injury to his feelings. You cannot sue somebody because your feelings got hurt, Mr. Palmer. Hurt feelings. No, in Australia. Injury to his feelings. Feelings. Whoa, 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 feelings. Oh, Mr. Palmer. Oh, dear. Hurt feelings. Injury to his feelings. How do you get compensation for feelings? Injury to his feelings. Oh boy. Mr. McGowan referred to the Queensland businessman as an enemy of the state. Said he wanted to come to WA to promote hydrochlor as a cure for COVID-19 and was using money generated in the state to bring down the border and damage the health of West Australians. Clive Palmer did actually try and get an injunction for the hard border to be taken down. In a post on Mr. McGowan's Facebook page, Mr. Palmer was claimed to make his profits by taking $12,000 from every man, woman, and child, potentially causing the state to go bankrupt. The post referred to legislation designed to prevent Mr. Palmer from potentially claiming around $30 billion over a long-running dispute involving his Balmoral South mining proposal. Mr. Palmer believes the comments suggested he was a traitor to Australia, intended to harm the people of WA, intended to steal money from everyone in the state, and was prepared to bankrupt WA. Well, he was. Mr. Gowan is countersuing, claiming the billionaire damaged his reputation by stating he lied and said he abused the parliamentary system. Excerpts from press conferences held by the Premier have been played to the court, followed by video and audio recordings from media statements and interviews involving Mr. Palmer, showing the war of words between the billionaire and Mr. McGowan. Justice Michael Lee said he needed to consider the context in which the statements were made, at a time when legal battles, including Mr. Palmer's challenge to the hard border, were underway or underfoot. Oh, boy. So, yes, so Mr. Palmer had challenged the hard border for WA at the time. He lost. He also appealed. Then after that failed, I don't know a lot about this legislation that came in about this money. But essentially, there has been a war of words. They've been insulting each other via the media. And so obviously now Mr. Palmer's had his little feelings hurt, and now he wants suing for defamation over hurt feelings. Oh boy, that's hilarious. In fact, we've got all the court filings here. We've got the court filings here because it's a public interest case right here. All right. So they're all here, Clive Palmer and Mark McGowan. Oh boy, that was funny. Oh, look at this. So this started in October 2020. So look at this. Look at all the documents being filed. So in August 2020. Oh, that's interesting. That Brett Walker is working for so the respondents, so State Solicitor's Office of Western Australia, they've employed Clayton Utz as well. But what's interesting is Brett Walker, Senior Counsel, Mark McGowan is a Labor Premier, and Brett Walker had been working with Christian Porter, who's a federal government minister for the Liberal Party, so opposite parties. But it's very interesting. But anyway, this is what everything's done. So it's been with Justice White, Justice Charlesworth. Now it's gone to Justice Lee, the registrar, Justice Lee. So it looks like it's with Justice Lee, and there's again a subpoena that's been issued. 26th of February is a hearing. 28th of February is another hearing. Then we've got the cross claim. So that was just the original stuff. This is the cross claim. I don't know, Bo. This is the cross claim. Look at it. Affidavit. So the cross claim is taken on the state of Western Australia as well. So as the Office of Premier, notice of acting change of lawyer. So he's obviously changed lawyers across. He's had to so then we've got all the orders here. So it was part heard on the 16th and adjourned. So let's have a look at the orders here. Because up until because at the moment, related to Mr. McGowan, everything has been video conference to him because he's in WA. Yeah, I've just seen it, Bella. Thanks. But McGowan now has to fly to Sydney to give his evidence in person. So essentially, this was Palmer to be given leave to rely on the further amended defence to cross-claim filed as joining issue with a further amended statement of cross-claim. Yeah, whatever. So it's just so essentially it's just they've got time to file because they've changed all the dates. There's been new documents filed. So it's a cross-claim. So an interested party is the state of Western Australia. All right. Oh, here we go. Here's the imputations conveyed. So let's have a look. Mr. Palmer represents a threat to the people of Western Australia and is dangerous to them. It's a second matter. So these are all the... Wow. An extra. Mr. Palmer represents a threat to people of Western Australia and a danger to them. Third matter, Mr. Palmer promotes a drug which is all the evidence establishes is dangerous. Well, that's a fact. Selfishly uses his money he's made in WA to harm West Australians. Mr. Palmer represents a threat to Australians. Mr. Palmer is prepared to bankrupt a state merely because he's unhappy with standard conditions set on a project by the state government that apply to all mining projects. Mr. Palmer is so dangerous a person that legislation was required to stop him making a claim for damages against the state of Western Australia. As Premier, Mr. McGowan lied to people of Western Australia when he said he acted upon the advice of the Chief Medical Officer in closing the borders. Now, that's going to be interesting because in order to prove that, they're going to have to get the briefing notes. As Premier, Mr. McGowan lied to the people of Western Australia when he told them their health would be threatened if the borders did not remain closed. Interesting. Again, you're going to have to prove it. As Premier, Mr. McGowan lied to the people of Western Australia about his justification for imposing travel bans. Again, he's going to have to prove it. How does he prove it? As Premier, Mr. McGowan had corruptly attempted to cover up the personal involvement of himself and others in criminal acts by overseeing the passing of laws designed to prevent exemptions for them from the criminal law. Interesting. As Premier, Mr. McGowan behaved criminally and was improperly seeking to confer upon himself immunity from the criminal law. As Premier, Mr. McGowan was acting corruptly by seeking to confer upon himself criminal immunity. Interesting. So it's interesting. I think the cross-claim ones, I think his allegations against McGowan, for example, are going to be a little bit harder to prove because how do you prove that a Premier has not taken the advice? They're going to have to subpoena the Chief Medical Officer, I guess, and have them under oath or get the briefing notes or get something. It's going to be interesting. Because if the Premier stands up and says that they're taking the health advice, you have to believe them, I guess. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out. I look, to be honest, some of the stuff that Palmer has said is pretty outrageous, even from a common sense point of view, even if we don't get there, you know. I don't know how it's going to play out, but it's definitely going to be interesting. Definitely going to be interesting to see how it all plays out. More filings than KJ. Now, I'm trying to find a screenshot of it, but somebody pointed out that in the Swanson lawsuit against Tardy Westbrook, it was Tardy Westbrook, James Westbrook, and a Jane Doe and a John Doe. I'm wondering if KJ is Jane Doe. See if I can find a screenshot. If somebody can find a screenshot of that. I saw a screenshot online. It was either on Twitter or something. But they had Tardy Westbrook, James Westbrook, Jane Doe, John Doe. And I just wondered whether it would be very interesting if she's the Jane Doe. Actually. What do you reckon? Could she? I don't know who the John Doe is, and that's the thing that I've had some issues with because I've not been able to work that out. Yeah, I've not been able to work that out. Was that a new filing or was that a different one? Hang on, I'm just seeing if I can find it here. Order. So anyway, that's what I'm just wondering whether maybe it's well, I mean, I don't know what Steve would have to do with it, but it's just very interesting that yeah, I just find the whole thing to be very, very interesting because it was, somebody had pointed out. She is amusing in court cases. You are correct there. Hang on, I'm just getting my university because I've now got a new student password, and I can sign up for law things now. I can sign up for legal stuff again now. Oh, that was I'm signing up for academic use. At least I'm a student of the law. I'm not going to pretend to be a journalist. Journalists. I could probably, get them to do some stuff for me. Like a real journalist, one that actually went to university and studied journalism. Oh dear. Or media studies, as it's called now. You lost the thread. Yeah, I can't find it. I can't find it either, and that's annoying me at the moment too. Because I want it. Well, that's what they're trying to keep quiet. They're trying to keep those documents quiet, from my understanding of it. But what is in there that makes it? I know that they're generally I know they're generally secret anyway, but it's just, I just can't. Yeah, I just find it's very interesting that it's got to be kept quiet. That's all. Because why? Yeah. Because what? Yeah. Why else would they be so determined to keep it quiet? That's all. Yeah, I saw the thread. I can't find it now, but I did see it. I swear I saw it. No, it'd be more like KJ would want it kept secret too. I've seen it, and I just cannot find where I saw it. I know it's Westbrook. I just found Westbrook versus Paulson. I don't want Westbrook versus Paulson. I don't want. Funny how I did a search for Swanson versus Westbrook. And I get Westbrook versus Paulson. It's quite funny, actually. Oh, dear. What's this one? Look at the summons. Yeah, I wish I could find it, but I can't find it. So anyway, it's got to be there somewhere. Look, generally they are kept. The thing is, generally they are kept secret. Settlement agreements are generally kept secret. So the one with the ABC and Porter, for example, was kept secret. However, when they do stuff, so for example, when they put disclaimers, or for example, KJ deletes all their videos, you know that something's happened. But you know, that's so then so what's this one? No, that's I just keep because every time I do Swanson versus Halo, it comes up with the Katie Joy one. For whatever reason. It's funny. You want to go back to bed? Well, it's 9:41 here, and I probably need to start thinking about going to bed at some stage. I know it's still pretty early. I've still got a bit of work to do, but I'm just. Oh, look, you can find out about statuettes. Statuettes. Oh, dear, I love it. Oh. That's what being in the 99% of IQ gets you, statuettes. Oh, statuettes. Don't forget, it's statuettes, not statutes. Possibly. But what I'm finding very interesting, though, is how this is all going to play out, and the fact that Katie has not gone live since this has broken, since these documents about the fact that it could possibly all leak out is very, very telling, in my opinion. She's not gone live. There's something. There's. I can feel it in my waters. There's something brewing. There's something happening. There's something going on. I can feel it in my waters. Oh, dear. I'd just like to state that I did a plan with me, and I used one of the plan to create kits. It's the video, so go have a look. Make sure you check that video out. And I had trouble with one of the numbers. I'd just like to show you that I did once the video had finished, I managed to get the little plastic bit off. I couldn't get it. I couldn't get the number off properly. But anyway, but yes, so you got to check out Plan to Create, and I've also linked her YouTube channel and her Etsy store in the bottom of that video. You've got to go check it out, and you've got to go spend some money. That's an order. I don't know, but see, it is usually normal for things to be kept quiet. I believe it is normal. It is normal for. Well, he's a musician. He did what I did. He did a music degree and then went into law. I'm doing the exact. I'm doing the exact thing that her lawyer did, except I'm not gonna be studying the States. Not a problem. Plan to Create. I felt really bad because the 26th, when I got my tweezers, I took the whole thing out and I couldn't get the little plastic bit off, but I did. As soon as I finished filming, it came off. So then I couldn't remember the name of the kit, but anyway, it's all there. It's all there. Oh dear. But yeah, I did it. So it's there. But yeah, got to check it out. I love Etsy. Oh. Yeah, get paid next week. Cool. It's funny though, everything. What type of law am I studying for? Oh, I'm going to focus on music entertainment, which comes down into contract. So there'll be contract, there'll be copyright, all of that type of stuff. Entertainment, YouTube, Spotify, anything to do with music and entertainment, really. One of the units I've picked out of pure interest, because I also like my sport, is sports law as well, because there's a lot of stuff happening in sports as well, which is good. But yeah, but the whole Google, Buzz suing Google is just has me interested. But look, when the pandemic hit, I noticed that a lot of the students were shafted by their venues that they were booked, and nobody would help them. And I went, okay, well, I started getting into doing some reading, and I thought, well, I may as well do it in my field of music. So, but yeah, but KJ's lawyer has a music degree as well, which I find to be very, very interesting. So, oh, it's funny that 7 hours ago, Douglas Nark talked about Joanna's son going to therapy, and it's funny, it appeared suddenly on somebody else's Instagram page. But in order to do that, you still have to do the whole law degree. So I still have to do, I still have to do the criminal law section. I've still got to do that. I can choose for part of my third year to work in the University of Law advice centers. So I could do that where people can go in and get some advice, because you're not a lawyer, because you're not qualified. But there will be lawyers, your lecturers, will be there, but you would give them basic advice on what they could do about their problems. So there's that, which could be a 12-week. So it's like a 12-week placement, but it's uni. It's classed as study. Or I might, whether I could then do a research, I could come up with a research project to do with music and law, do a research thing, and then do that part, and then prepare to get my PhD. Anyway, I don't know. I've still got years. I'm going to get through the first years first. Oh, dear. Oh. Well, sometimes I feel passionate. Yeah. So you have to do, where is it? I've got it all laid out here. Hang on. Where did I put it? Or is it here? I've just started printing out some stuff, so it's all a bit of a mess. I've got my textbooks because I'm just trying to find where I can get them cheapest from, because textbooks are expensive. All right. So, for example, I've got to do 3. You do 4 compulsories for the first 6 months of the year, then 3 compulsories and an elective. And I'm doing data law policy and cybercrime, which is going to be interesting. It's 3 years plan to create. And then I'm doing sports. So next year I've got 2 elective units. So like I could do, so I've got legal method and statutory interpretation, which is how to research the law, and how to interpret statutes, contract law and policy, criminal law and policy, and torts. Then I've got commercial law and policy of misleading conduct and product liability, and criminal procedure and policy. Year 2 is constitutional law, property law, 2 electives, civil procedure, alternate dispute resolution and policy, evidence law and policy, land law and policy, and then another elective. 3rd year is trusts, administrative law, corporate law, legal practice, ethics and policy, advanced legal professional practice, and then the rest are electives. So there you go. And that's where you could do, so I could go, for example, I could go in and do the Deakin Law Clinic, or I might want to dabble in family law, which I don't want to, or human rights, or you can do health law, or corporate governance, or business law, and all of that sort of stuff. So you can get into you could go into and do migration law in all your electives. So anyway, so it's going to be interesting. And then they've already downloaded the research planner, which they've got. So the step-by-step, like developing your plan, and then how to research, and then a difference between all the different stuff you've got to write. There's a lot of writing. So I think the first assessment is 2,000 words. The third one's 5,000 words, etc., etc. Hi, Kelly. So, but yes, the first subject is how to research the law properly, and then how to interpret statutes. Because apparently Googling your law questions doesn't cut it, by the way. Oh, no, a busy 3 years ahead, I think. Yeah, it's 3 years. It's going to be busy 3 years, I think. And anyway, it'll be worth it in the end. No, I'm not going to be KJ's lawyer. I'm in a different jurisdiction to her. We have a jurisdiction. We've got a jurisdiction problem. I'm not qualified in her jurisdiction. Oh, dear. So anyway, I just, yeah. Well, in fact, I could do a study with me. I tell you what, you can help me do all my Q&A questions. I know that there is going to be one. I know that there's quite a few cases that we have to examine, and I know that we have to do. I think one of the assessments. Where is it? Because I've started to get all my books and everything ready. Yeah, I just don't know where I put them. But you're going to get a case to read or a background, and you've got to write up some advice, or how would you advise them type things, and what cases would you refer to, and all that sort of stuff. Get a study with me. I may need to do study with me because it's pretty full on. As I said, it's pretty full on. Where are we? Oh, here we go. Here's my oh yes, I've got to do a memorandum of advice using the Victorian Charter of Human Rights. I didn't even know we had one. And there is a whole section. There is a whole reading on plagiarism. My first reading is about plagiarism and citing sources correctly. So, and unfortunately, I'm a old school type person, and I have to have paper. I haven't quite got used to the reading on the iPad yet, and I probably need to get used to that, but I'm just not there yet. So I have the HP, I'm on that plan where you pay so much a month and they send you new ink every month, and I get 300 sheets a month included, that for $20, which is cheaper than buying ink. So I pay $20 a month. I get to print out 300 sheets, and they just, when it registers that it gets that I've put in the new ink, they send me in another ink, and then they give me a post pack, and I just put in 2 or 3. I just do the inks and send the inks, recycle the inks. So it's pretty easy. Because I was paying up to whatever it was, $50, $60 to every time I needed to change my ink. Now I pay $20 a month, so I don't have to worry about it, and it rolls it over. I think I've got something like 800 pages that I can print out, so I will be making use of those. So a lot of it will be on the state of Victoria law in Australia. So I guess, if anything, everybody will be very well versed on the Victorian legislation, I guess. The Victorian and Australian legislation. You'll be all Australian law experts. Oh dear. And the plagiarism, particularly for legal practitioners. So let's have a. What's that? The Victorian Charter of Rights? Yeah. It's actually very interesting. I actually started to read it on my iPad, and I fell asleep. So I guess when I get into class, I can't really fall asleep, can I? Oh, is it? I just think it's the volume of pages I've got to do. Plus, I've still got an old. I probably need to upgrade my iPad at one point in time, where I've got one with the pencil where I can highlight. At the moment, I can't do that, and I think that might be part of the problem. But I'll work out a system that's good for me. Oh, HP about the ink. Okay, yes. What's it called? Oh yeah, it's called HP Smart Plan. Oh, it's the best thing I discovered. I'm only going to send the Australian link, but I'm sure that they have a program similar right around the world. I thought it was a bit interesting you wanted the Victorian Charter of Rights. And you can switch it. So, for example, if I know that I'm going to have a heavy month printing, and I know that I'm going to go over the quota, I can pay go up to the $30 one. I think the most I paid was $40, which was still cheaper than what I was paying for ink. And at one stage, my daughter was printing out stuff for her uni as well. and we were both printing out stuff for university, and I was saving a bucket load. It's called HP Instant Ink. Let me just find it for you, get you a link. So yeah, I just think that's, yes, please send me the link. Well, see, that's what I was doing. I was having to get ink all the time, and it was stupid. And the interesting thing is that you can actually invite people to access. You can actually, like, I could send, for example, Bella, I could send you a link and you could access my printer remotely. Like if you knew that you were coming to my place or something, you could actually send stuff to print and pick it up. And so it's amazing how it's done. But let me just see if I can get this link. Oh yeah, see, yeah, HP Instant Ink. I didn't realize. As I said, HP Instant Ink. I just did not know anything about it, and yeah, it was. I just don't run out because every time, as soon as I put the next lot of this is the Australian address. Well, every time I put a new ink in, it just does, and it sends me a new one. It's great. And then that's the link for the HP ink if you're interested. Yeah. Yeah, my printer does too. I've not actually done the app actually, but yeah, it tells you that cartridge use. So you get a box and you just get a little box, and then so I've already got my next lot of ink ready to go. Yeah. So let me have a look at. So for example, I'll show you this. You know, I'm pretty transparent with all my stuff, you know. You can't see my. See, I had a big printing day the other day. So you get this. So it looks something like this when you get it. So you can see I'm on the $19.99 plan, 300 pages a month, and then it's $1.99 for extra. So current. So anyway. So far this month, since it's rolled over, yeah, I'll do that. I've printed 139 pages. It tells you what day you printed out. So that was when I was printing out all my uni stuff. So I've used 139 of 300, but I've got 671 pages rolled over. So you can have 900 rollover pages. So, which means I've got over 900 pages for the month. And so it communicates it all. So what counts as a printed page? And then it shows you here your history. So I actually just downloaded. I just changed mine because I didn't need it. I didn't need the high rank anymore because my daughter's not printing out as much. But there was a stage where we were printing out all the time, so I had used 96 of 300. So it rolls over to up to 800. So that one, there was 79 pages printed. So, for example, this is October. So when we got September, October, we were both printing stuff out. We were both in uni. So we got to 300, and then I had to pay extra because we used 44 of additional pages. I purchased additional pages that month, and then I decided I needed to increase it for the next month. So I increased it for the next month. And would you, lo and behold, we didn't get to that. We didn't get to that limit. So, yeah, there's been a few times where we did go over, but not often. So it looks like that. So I downgraded again, but as I said, I've got 900 pages, and then it was, yeah, it's pretty cool. So you can print anywhere. So you can print anywhere. Anyway, so that's what that looks like. I'll send that to you via DM. But best thing I came across, I have to say. Saved me a bucket load. And I don't have to worry about having to order them either, because I know that the next lot's coming. So when this ink runs out, you just change it. It registers that the next lot of ink's gone in, and it sends you out a new one. So, yeah. So it's pretty, and you just change it. You just change it as you need it. So if you need more 1 month, if you know that you're going to need, if you're going to be doing lots of printing 1 month. So for example, this is what, I'll just show you the plans here. They should give me commission on this. So if you know that you are only going to, so 10 pages per month is, mine's changing to the 100 pages. So I'm changing to the 100 pages because I can roll over to 300. So March the 8th. So anyway, I'm as I said, I'm downgrading a little bit. But look, if you only do 10 pages, you only need to pay $1.99 a month. 50 pages up to that. 500 pages, 700 pages is $40 a month. It's still cheaper than buying ink. If you're doing 1,500 pages a month, you would still be saving money. So that's what yeah. So I'm downgrading it because I don't think that I'm going to be using 100 pages. So I'm doing as much of the printing out as I can now, but I will still have 300. Don't forget that I've still got 300 pages that will roll over. So that if I don't use them all this month, it will roll over to 300 pages. So yeah, that's what that is. So, and you can just keep track. You just log in and it will tell you what you need to do. Oh, you know what? I'll give you a link because you get a 1 month free if you enroll with my link. So how's that? Let me just give you the link here. I'll send this to you everywhere. So if you want to try this, this is the link. And you get 1 month free, 1 month to try it, to see if you like it. It says friends get 1 month of HP Instant Ink when they enroll, and then I get 1 month free. Woohoo! I like that. But yes. So I'm just going to send that as well. You may as well try it and see how you go. But that's if you got HP. If you don't have HP, it's no good. Yeah, I've got mine prints via Bluetooth too. You just select the printer that you've got. In on the go printer. Yep, that's what I've got. So you just go through it and find your printer, and then yeah, Bob's your uncle. And then it says, yeah, and then it says to recycle. So but I found my new cartridges the other day, so I know that I've got yeah, I know that I've got ink for it, so that's good. But look, all you can do, I've just sent it to you via DM, Bella. All you can do is have a look and see whether your printer's there. If your printer's there, you can sign up. Otherwise, it's not. But yeah, I do like HP. But anyway, and then if you replace your printer, you use the same account. You just say that you've updated your printer, you put in your new details, and I send you new stuff. So I think you can have multiple printers as well, I think. But anyway, yeah, I just like this. But anyway, this turned into an advertisement. It wasn't supposed to be like that. Anyway, on that note, I want to thank you all for joining me. It's 10:08 Sunday night now. And I want to thank you for joining me. And I won't be on tomorrow night because I've got choir. And then I've got work. So if I'm on, I'll be on during the day. I guess I've just got to see what's going to happen with overnight with our friend. What she's going to do on a Sunday night, I guess, Sunday. I don't know. See what Instagram stuff comes up. But anyway, yeah. So anyway, yeah. I was spending $80 a month on stuff, so I've halved it now. So I just find it really, really, really cool. So, as I said, I can't even remember how I came across it, but I just happened to come across it, and it's the best thing I've ever done. And as I said, when both my daughter and I were having to print out stuff for university, because she had to have printed copies of stuff and I needed printed copies of stuff that needed to be filling for work placement and stuff, we were doing going through the ink. And now we don't, I didn't have to worry because I knew that it was all covered. So, and it gets sent to me. So as soon as I put the new ones in, I've always got the spare one. Anyway, I want to just, as I said, thank you very much for joining me. Hope you've had a little bit of fun tonight. Yeah, I hope it's been fun. Cool. Yeah, see you later, Bo. Totally Clueless. I hope you have a good day. And if you can hit like, and if you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe, please. But yeah, you love my streams. Thank you very much. Thank you. I know I came on and I thought, I don't know really what I'm going to talk about, but then I was reading Instagram and saw that, KJ threw a family under the bus, and I thought, well, there we go. She wants to be relatable. Anyway. All right, well, I'll catch you again next time. And don't forget to check out my Plan With Me and click on and have a look at Plan to Create's YouTube channel and Etsy shop, because it's pretty cool. And I'd just also like to add that I had actually talked about the fact I'd misplaced the bin stickers, and I've misplaced them again, but I did actually put them in my book. I've misplaced them again. How do I do that twice? I went to put the garbage stickers into my into my Stellargy, and I couldn't find them, and I had no idea where I'd put them. Anyway, I found them just to show you that I did find them. That's Plan to Create bin stickers, just so that you can see. I'd just like to show you that I did actually find them, and they're cool. Look at those. Oops, look at those, the bin stickers. So I did find them, and I've misplaced them again, which is what I do. Oh, I'd lose my head if it wasn't attached to my body. Oh, and the other thing is, I'm in the process of sorting out everything, and everything's everywhere. So it's taking me. Oh, look here! Look! I do have them. I knew I had them. Here we go. The Plan to Create bin night stickers. Look at that with the cat on the bin. So yes, I do have them. So there you go. No, I haven't found my washi tape card yet, but I have a feeling it's under my feet somewhere, but I'll find it. Oh, that's right. I use something else. No, I just make do. It's probably under my feet, and there's a whole pile of stuff that's fallen off my desk, and I bet you it's in there, but I'll get down there tomorrow. No. All right. Bye, everybody. I'll catch you again next time. Thank you for joining me.